Let's get the timer going. And we're up. In about a minute and 20 seconds, I'll start answering the questions. Let's see when some people start joining. Hey, if you guys can hear me perfectly, type a 2. If I'm too loud, type a 3. And if you want me to lower the volume, type in a 1. We're going to start the questions pretty soon. Best question, why? That's a very broad question. That's a lot of 2, so I guess you guys can hear me. 30 more seconds, and then I'll start answering some questions. That's a lot of hearts. It's perfect volume. Thanks. All right. We're about to start. Good morning. Good afternoon. Yeah, let's leave this right there. There we go. If you guys are new here, click the like button and type in it's going to be a great day if you think it's going to be a great day. If you don't think it's going to be a great day, type in it's going to be a great day anyways, because it's going to be. If it's at night, type in it's going to be a great day tomorrow, and you're going to get a ton of amazing sleep, if that's how that works. Anyways, let's get on to the first question. Mac, what do you do when you feel overwhelmed or when you're stressed? Because when I'm stressed, I just can't do anything and start to panic, and it's even worse. Well, Mac, when I'm overwhelmed, I start to organize stuff. I think I might have answered this question or a question like this in the previous live stream, but it really helps me to get stress out by actually doing the activity of organizing, whether that's cleaning my room, organizing my notes, jotting down my plans, and then once I'm done, I've gotten rid of a whole bunch of stressful energy, and I've also clearly organized myself, and I can think about the problems that I need to solve in a clear way. It really helps me anyways when I start to feel overwhelmed. Usually, specifically in the workplace when I'm working. Question number 2 is also from Mac. Mac asks, in the live stream of week 4, you said there was a good way to read a book without reading every single page. So I've got a pretty cool answer on this. So sometimes when you read a book, the author has really good theories, sometimes they have really good practical advice, other times you really need to read the stories to be able to help you make better decisions in the future. You need that perspective change of the story. And it really depends on what you want to get out of a book to how you're going to approach it. If you're going to read a book about productivity, for example, you want to make sure that you come out of it with practical tactics that you can apply to be more productive. So you want to make sure that when you're reading that book, you search for those, which means that you can probably skip the intro, you could probably skip the part about the author's life, and just get into the tactical parts of being more productive. If you're reading a book about marketing or setting up a sales funnel, I found that I think it's Richard Brunson's book, he has 2 books out on setting up sales funnel and marketing and stuff like that. They tend to be written kind of like novels, but to get the most out of them, I approach them like an encyclopedia, where I just pick and choose what I think I need out of it, and sometimes I'll go through and flip through all the pages and read the headlines and stuff, so you get a basic idea of what the book's about and what each chapter's about and stuff like that, but you don't have to read the parts that you already know. Also, if I'm reading a book about sleep habits and I already know that you should avoid caffeine before you go to bed, I don't need to read that chapter. And now, if I'm making a review of it, I will read that chapter, but for self-development purposes, to get to 80% of something in 20% of the time, you don't have to read the whole book, and you also shouldn't hate reading a whole book. When you read for self-development, for fun, for improving yourself, it needs to be fun. You should read what you want to read. Otherwise, eventually it'll get boring and you'll drop it and you'll burn out. So you can skip around if you need to, because at the end of the day, it's really about getting something out of that information that you will actually apply. I hope that's helpful. The next question is, what is your process to do the book summaries? So first, I'll buy a book. I have a whole list of, when I find books, one way that I find great books is go to Amazon, you go to bestsellers, and you just kind of sort through those books. Ones that I've read, ones that I've already seen before but haven't read, and I'll check those out. After I buy the book, then I read the whole book. Kind of like the process before. Sometimes I read the entire book front to back, sometimes I only skip around. Now, when I make book summaries, I do read the entire book. Then I'll take notes while I'm reading the book, and if I have enough notes at the end that sound like the notes could actually help people, then I'll turn that into I'll turn those ideas and stories or lists that the books gives and turn them into like a script. And then I'll narrate this script, and then I'll edit the script, because when I narrate a script, I breathe, I take the breaths out because that helps engagement. And then I'll also, sometimes I'll have to say a sentence 3 or 4 times to make it the best way that the viewer can, or the person that's watching the video can understand the information that I'm trying to teach them. And then after that, then I'll animate it, and then the book summary's done. So on to the next question. What are the most useful apps and sites that you use? This is an interesting question. On a broad spectrum, I use Google Analytics, YouTube, Gmail, Docs, and Discord right now. Those are probably my most visited sites and apps. On my phone, I don't really have any productivity or game apps other than business stuff. I think if you clarified this question a little bit more of what you wanted to accomplish by being useful, then I could answer this question a little bit better. Let me go back to the live stream. Do you guys have any questions? I'll answer one really quick. What's happening here? If you guys don't know, this is actually a live stream of where I'm answering other people's questions that they've asked me questions inside the Practical Growth Academy. You can click the link in the description to check it out if you've never heard of it before. Basically, every week I'll come up with a book summary, an actionable book, what's it called? I'll give you a worksheet so that you can turn the ideas in the book summary into like practices in your life, so that you're not just learning a whole bunch, that you can actually go out and do something to improve your life. And each month there's a mini course. I'm working on that. February's mini course right now. Let's go on to the next question. There's my mouse. Ryan asks, have you ever thought about learning different physical activities like juggling or riding a unicycle? Personally, these were things that really showed me I can do whatever I want. Do you think learning physical activities like this could be a fun method to increase a person's confidence and growth mindset? Of course. I've done tons of stuff like this. In the past, I've learned maybe a few songs on the piano. A couple years ago, I think I was like 6 months away from a black belt in Taekwondo. This is a couple years ago, though. I know how to play the flute. I learned the piccolo. That was easy once you've mastered the flute. And then the violin, I learned how to tie a whole bunch of knots one time when I was bored. Chinese yo-yos are pretty fun. I learned that. That took about a summer to get the hang of. In fact, one of the best things I recommend for a person who, when they feel sad or start to feel a little depressed, is to learn something new, because learning inspires curiosity, and eventually it can be a self-esteem boost, because when you see that incremental progress of how you actually improved yourself, for me anyways, it helps me get out of that rut. It shows me that I can grow, not necessarily even in things that you can't really measure. Let's go on to the next question. I think this is question number 6. Alright. No name on this one. In Australia, citizens have spent a lot of money on gambling. I have a friend who has a serious gambling problem, and he is heavily influenced by his work colleagues, as they are gamblers too. Other factors like TV ads, mobile apps, and big sporting culture in Australia also influence him. Is there a way for him to dissociate himself from the culture of gambling without having to quit his job? This sounds like an addiction, but it also sounds like an environment problem. I think the only way he could really quit is if he realized that his gambling behavior was destructive to his financial situation, and that he made the decision to quit cold turkey forever. He has to make the decision to quit gambling forever. Gambling is a crazy drug. In fact, it's very powerful, and most people like the high that they get from the potential of the amount of money that they could win, whether that's a lottery or slot machines or whatever. They like the high of going, oh, I could win this, even more than actually winning that much money. They get more excited over winning, thinking they could win $5 million, than actually winning $5 million. And it's sad that you see most lottery winners in a worse spot before they actually won a year later. Now, the best thing I think you could do for him is to sit down, maybe explain how gambling is addictive, and that you don't want to see him continue gambling, and tell him that you won't support his actions. It sounds like this would be a very difficult to change because of the cultures he's in and the environment that he's around, all of these crazy influences that you listed. But I wish you best of luck, because gambling can be very destructive, especially with a double or nothing mindset and risky behavior, when those types of mindsets leak over into their core decision making and not just their financial life. It can be very dangerous. The next question is by Stefano. Do you have any tips on how to be less nervous for presentation? Number 1 tip, practice. Practice as much as you can in front of as many people as you can. Also, maybe talk to some of your audience members one-on-one before actually talking to the entire crowd. This way you'll feel like you're talking to your friends instead of just a cold audience. One little psychological hack is to, right before you get up on stage or wherever you're giving a presentation at, stand up straight, put your chest out, take 5 deep breaths in while you're saying and repeating to yourself, I'm going to nail this presentation. I'm going to be awesome at this presentation in your head. And this will prime your brain for confidence, assurance, and by taking deep breaths, it will help get rid of anxiety. I hope that answers your questions. I feel like I'm talking really fast this morning. I've had coffee without any food, so that's probably why. Question number 8 is, I don't know me. I don't know what I want to do next, not even what I am passionate about. I don't know about my core values, and I feel lost in life. What do you recommend? Where to start and to do next? I would say hang around other people that you want to be like, and as you start to hang around them, you'll start to pick up their values, and you'll see their values in them, or at least the ones that you deem honorable. Try to pick those up. After you start to find your core values and have clearly identified them, you can start to think of ways that are to try new things that are in line with those core values. And after you try a whole bunch of things, commit to one, your favorite one, maybe the one that you enjoy the most, and stick with it. And eventually, a passion will form out of that. That's my advice for you anyways. The next question is from Leo. Leo asks, what is the worst, biggest mistake you have ever done in your lifetime, and what have you learned about it? This is an interesting question. To be honest, I did something a long time ago that was pretty stupid and hurt a lot of people and let down a lot of people that were around me. I don't really want to talk about it, especially on this channel, but only my close family knows. And what I would share with you that you could learn from that situation is to never do anything that makes you feel guilty. If you know that it's wrong and you feel wrong doing it, do not do it. The lack of guilt in my own life from that experience and what I have taken from that experience moving forward has helped me a lot to grow as a person. Just having that lack of guilt, and basically whenever I make decisions, I go, will I feel guilty about this? And if I'm clear, if I'm out of the red, if I'm in the green, then that has improved. Using that in my decision making has helped me a lot. The next question is from Jitesh. How to connect with millionaires in a party or some club when they do not know you. What to talk about, how to attract them, how to get their attention and get their number. And he says he feels like an introvert. So number 1, the best tip I could give you is do not think of a millionaire as someone different. Don't think of them as a different hierarchy than you. They are people just like we are people, and the only difference is their mindset usually, and how they view their time. I would suggest approaching them just like you approach anyone else that you've never met before. Also, on what to talk about, it's basically the same thing. You talk about what they're interested in to get their attention. Let's see. People love talking about themselves and their hobbies and things that they're interested in. So just approach them like they're any other person that you want to meet and connect with. Don't think about them as this millionaire on this super high scale that they're going to think of you as dirt or anything because you're not on the same level as them. That's not how most millionaires work. When you get to meet them, they're just like normal people. If you want to get their number, find common ground within the conversation, and then when the conversation is over, just ask for their number and say, hey, would you like to connect? Or meet later, or talk later, or something like that. That's my best advice for you, Jitesh. The next question is question number 11. Can you describe how a day in your life is? What do you do every day? I do a lot of things in a day, at least yesterday. Yesterday, let me come up with a list. I mailed out 2 t-shirts. Actually, I mailed out 1. There's some guy named Tony, and he lives in Guatemala, and I need to email him. Let me write that down right now. I need to email Tony because it would cost $112 to ship a t-shirt to Guatemala. So, I also got my teeth cleaned by a dentist, and I had a regular checkup yesterday. I also recorded 2 scripts for videos. I paid out a whole bunch of Amazon gift cards for PGA members. If you don't know, Practical Growth Academy is my new little private membership group. You can sign up in the link in the description. And if it's your first month, I will send you a $20 Amazon gift card within 48 hours. Just to try it out. It's only $17 a month and you can cancel anytime. So I'm basically paying you $3 to try it out. What else did I do yesterday? I also rendered, set up metadata, and posted a video, as you guys saw that. As well as I set up these images. These are images that I have to set up and I have to research and answer these questions. I also called ClickBank about my taxes and figured out there was a number difference between what they said they paid me and what they actually paid me, and I emailed them and I got a response this morning and figured that out. Also, that same problem happened with my Amazon 1099. Honestly, most of my life is pretty repetitive and predictable, to be honest. But it's because of that positive upward consistency that I've grown. Because of this repetitive consistency, that I feel like I've grown. If I look back through time, I can see, in my journal, I can see how I have grown. How can I set goals that I stick to? I'm not sure who answered this question because they didn't put their name in, but you are in luck. This question is about to be answered in depth in the Practical Growth Academy next, actually it's this month, February. This month's mini course, the whole mini course is about productivity, from organization to time management, and I have a whole video on goal setting. It's going to be about setting SMART goals and setting stretch goals. So if you guys don't know, SMART is an acronym. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Specific, measurable, actionable, reasonable, I think, and time-bound. SMART is an acronym for those that helps you set goals, and stretch is not an acronym, but it basically means you need goals that look like they're impossible to achieve. That way you can stretch yourself. That way you can achieve things and you don't limit the ceiling of what you think you can achieve. So that's going to be coming out pretty soon. Bort asks, let me see here. Hey Theo, if you could go back in time and only read 3 books as a beginner entrepreneur, what would they be? Those 3 books, I've thought about this for a little bit and I came up with them. The first one is Think and Grow Rich. The second one is The 4-Hour Workweek, and the third one is a little surprising, but it's called Smarter, Better, Faster by Charles Duhigg. So the first book, Think and Grow Rich, lays the foundation for the mindset that you need to make money and actually grow a business, to make the connections, the mindset that you need. Now the second book, The 4-Hour Workweek, it lays up the practical stuff that you need to do. So Think and Grow Rich is more mindset and theory and how to put your life in line with how you want to grow rich, and the 4-Hour Workweek is more practical stuff, like the actual work you need to do to set it up, and things that you can do in this day and age to automate a business. Now, the last book, Smarter, Better, Faster, it lays out how you can make it better. It's basically a productivity book, but it's also, I really enjoyed reading it, so I would definitely put that one in because it was really fun to read. It talks a lot about the self-improvement process. So, those would be my 3 books. Think and Grow Rich, The 4-Hour Workweek, and Smarter, Better, Faster. Let's go to this next question. It's a pretty long question, and I shortened up some of the background info. Macaulay asks, just wanted to say thanks for last week's question answer. I follow Alex Becker and his stuff. I think it's awesome. I also follow Ty, he says, and listen to what he says and not, or what he does and not what he says. And it helped him make a test group to create scarcity for a course that he made. And he said he made a couple $100 before fully releasing it. He says, my next question is, do you think creating a channel that is not niche specific is a good idea? I currently had one that focused on e-commerce, but I recently started to grow my Instagram as somewhat of a comedy page. I want to make a channel that I made funny videos, gaming videos, and also teach people how to make money online and doing things that they love. Would this flow together, or do you think it would be better to do each one as a specific niche? So with the new YouTube policy, if you did it all at once, I can see how you're thinking about that. You want to be able to get that 4,000 hours of watch time and those 1,000 subscribers quicker, but honestly, I don't think this would be a good idea, and let me explain why. YouTube really likes niches because a sub-factor of making a niche channel is that your viewers will see that your videos are related and hopefully binge watch a whole bunch of them because they're related, especially if you have a great personality and entertain them while you're teaching them. Now, if you want to grow your YouTube channel as much as possible, focus on one topic at a time. But it sounds like you might be able to incorporate jokes into your e-com videos, and that might be something that you could do. You could kind of balance comedy and e-com and build a personality through that. Although mixing in gaming might be a little difficult. Let me give you some background information. Example, how do you think people would react if I posted a gaming video on my psychology channel? Not very well, let alone that gun building tutorial experiment that I posted a little while ago. People who found that video through search loved it, but my core subscribers were interested in psychology and making money online and self-development, and they thought it was odd and didn't really want to watch more than 10 seconds of that video. I hope this answered your question. So, in one sentence, I would say I would not make a big channel. I would focus on niches. Next question. That was a really long question. Let me go back to this live dashboard. See how you guys are doing. Wow, we're at 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes already. That's a lot of questions. If you guys are getting anything out of these questions, can you type in a 5? Let's see who types in the first 5. I think there's a 15-second delay. My question is referred personally to you. How are you? I am doing great. It is going to be a great day. That's a lot of 5s. Let's see who did the first one. Mac1314PS3 did the first 5. Congratulations. I don't have anything to give away right now, but maybe in the future. Let's answer this question. When a person is starting in the self-development world, which are the first steps and after it? So some of the first steps to starting in the self-development world, so to say, would be to learn. Learn as much as you can about improving yourself. Now, after you have learned a whole bunch, you want to start applying the ideas that you've learned. Let me give you some examples. You know, like in the book Emotional Intelligence, Daniel Goleman talks about how venting only makes the frustration that you're feeling and the anger emotions worse. So you would practice this idea by acknowledging, oh, I'm angry, and then not venting. Or finding other coping mechanisms. Or there's another book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which if you're starting out, I highly recommend reading that book. And Covey talks about being proactive and how you can definitely find many ways to be proactive in your daily life. That would probably be so the first steps would be to learn, and then after that, you want to try to be as proactive and actually putting those ideas into practice in your life as much as possible. After it, something more advanced, actually it'd be more beginners should probably be doing it, is after you've started learning and you started applying it, is to start journaling. Start tracking your progress. Journaling is the best way that you can track your progress. I think this is the second to last answer. Here's the last one. This guy actually asked this question in like a couple hours ago because I checked the forums right before I set this up. And he says, I used to use Wunderlist as my to-do list app, but now they end their support. Which to-do list app do you recommend that is free or not too expensive? Personally, I use Evernote. I don't use it as often as I actually use like pieces of paper and write down a to-do list. But Evernote would be my go-to if there's something that I want to write down and make sure that it always stays written down. So that's the end of this, these questions that I have for Practical Growth Academy. Before I end this live stream, I want to answer some of your guys' questions. Hey, there's Mac again. All right, you guys have any questions for me? That's a lot of questions. You know what I think is really cool? I was going to show you guys this earlier. That whenever I do a live stream, all of your guys' comments count as actual comments. Here, let me show you. If you can see this right here, you can actually see that was a live stream, that was a live stream, that was also a live stream, and there was a live stream. Like, your guys' comments actually count, or your chat comments count as comments, which I think is really interesting. I don't think it does it with likes. Let me look in here. So I don't think it necessarily does it with likes, because there's not big spikes. But it does do it with comments. 3,000 comments in one day because of that live stream that I did. Please tell me about the Law of Attraction. It's really weird. The first 3 books of Practical Growth Academy, which you can check out in the link below, I'll actually pay you $3 for signing up and testing out for the first month. The first 3 books all included the Law of Attraction, which was strange because some of the books weren't even, one of the books was like Think and Grow Rich, the other one was Compound Effect. Like, they had nothing to do about the Law of Attraction, but they were in the book and I found them necessary to talk about. And what I want to say about a Law of Attraction is that a lot of people think, oh, you just sit here and you think about what you want and you come up with a plan of how you want to get that and it'll come. Not necessarily. The Law of Attraction really has a lot to do about psychology and how your brain filters the information that you are receiving. The Law of Attraction could be described as a filter in your brain that whatever you focus on grows. So if your brain is focusing on the negativity, if your brain is focusing on disease, on harmful stuff in your life, that is only going to grow. You need to focus on what you want to grow, which I think is an amazing concept and really promotes positivity. Now, there are negative things that we need to take care of, but if you focus on them all the time, a lot of people can improve. Let's see some of these comments. Law of Attraction fails in practicality, Vinay says. It is actually the law of cause and effect. I think the idea of the Law of Attraction is something that is useful. The idea that whatever you focus on, whatever you choose to focus on, will find itself into your life more. Football Addicts asked a huge math question. I'm going to need some time to figure out that one. How to build charisma and how does it help us? Someone in the Discord chat asked a question about charisma, and the definition of charisma is not what I thought it was. My definition of charisma would be something like someone who is upbeat, they energize a crowd, they're kind of motivating. But there are a couple different definitions of charisma. Let me see if I can look it up. You guys are probably hearing some crazy sounds because I just dropped my... Here, the dictionary.com has a great definition of charisma: compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. The Wikipedia version and definition of charisma has a couple different definitions. Alright, let's go back to questions. You guys are getting a little weird in this chat. 134 people. You guys have any suggestions on future live streams? Should I do them different? Should I not use... I don't know why this is still up here. Should I make different images than this? Should I show my face? I know a lot of people would say yes to that. You guys are getting pretty philosophical in these chat. Is certain body position makes you feel urge? I'm going to assume that question asks, can changing your body position change your mindset? Yes, there are many different studies that have found different body positions can change chemicals in your brain, can change physiologically. Face reveal, for sure. The mouse is moving at like 10 frames a second. Yes, because these are images, I have this live stream slowed down to 10 frames a second. Do you follow any podcasts? A couple, can't name any off the top of my head. Not really any of the major ones. How do you filter information, contrasting information you get from different sources? So that was a question that someone asked in the Discord chat also. They said, it went something like, these two books contradict each other, which one's right? The answer to that is, to be able to figure out which one is right, you need to have a good perspective. And you get a better perspective by traveling. You get a better perspective by reading stories and books that other people have went through. You get a better perspective by talking to other people. And by adding all these perspectives up, you get to make your own decisions based on the past experiences that you've had to say, all right, this information is applicable here, but it's not applicable here. And contrasting information might be the other way around. For example, when I say the early bird gets the worm, that is not always true. Sometimes you do not want to be first. And there's also the cliche, the second mouse gets the cheese, which is true sometimes too. But the wisdom, how do I say this? The value comes from being able to differentiate when to use each one. Alright guys, I got a lot more work to do today. I think I'm going to end this live stream. It's been about 30 minutes contacting ET. Oh, the motivational guy? Why am I angry? I'm not angry. Am I in school and what am I studying? Technically I'm not in school. I'm learning a lot by reading a ton of books, but I'm not in any college or university or high school. I graduated high school in 2015. Then my first semester out of college was in a nuclear engineering college. And then after that, I decided nuclear engineering was not something I wanted to do. And then I transferred to a local business school. a community college, and focused on business. And then within a couple of semesters, I found out, wow, I can learn a lot more by creating a business than actually going to business school. So then I dropped out of that because I was helping, number one, I was helping a lot of people. Number two, I was making a lot of money. And when you add those two together, by basically, I was making money so that I could support myself, and I was helping a lot of people, and that was kind of my purpose at the time. And it was like going to college and learning more is not helping me with either one of those. So then I dropped out of college. Alright guys, I think I'm going to end this live stream. Type a yes if you enjoyed today's live stream or got anything out of it. Out of the past 30 minutes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully I'll be able to upload a video tomorrow. It might be Friday, but I'll see you then.